Hiring software engineers is a struggle right now, especially now in 2025. And there are a couple of reasons for this, and the main thing is global trends. And I will go through the three main reasons why hiring right now is hard. And I'm making this video for the perspective of the business owner, especially small business owners who are trying to hire remotely outsourced talent. I do have experience also with local hiring back in the days when I had my software development company in Germany. It was easier back then, and then it got harder. I had a couple of clients who struggled with hiring, and then I helped them outsource parts of their work. So I have experience in hiring in India, Pakistan, Africa, and Vietnam. And now the tables have turned again because now we have AI. I wrote down my thoughts on this sheet. The main thing we want to talk about right now is AI. Everybody knows what's been happening. And basically, if we look into the demand curve of a software development job, basically it looks like this. This was before AI. We have the developers availability. So they would start at a certain minimum salary. Before that salary, nobody would take on the work. And then it goes up and the jobs would go down in price. So this is the usual economic curve that people use in order to determine the price. So for a certain skill set, for a certain job, the price would then even out here in the middle. Now, if we look into the AI right now, so what is happening with AI is that developers basically got more leverage. With the tools of AI that we currently have, developers now able to do much more than before. That means they have more productivity and technically can charge more. But there's more to this because the demand curve is not just moved up. So you might think that the AI would just come in and basically leverage all the developers up, and that would now mean that they can charge a higher price, and now this price would swing in here and stay there. So the average salary would go up. That's not the only thing that happens. What also happens is that AI now comes in and all the jobs below this threshold here, they go away. So everything here under the curve is now going away because the company doesn't need to pay a person anymore. They would just use an AI for that. So as this happens now means there is way more people available for a certain task, but only above a certain level. Below that level, the jobs are not present anymore because they're all going to AI. So that's why we have a lot of talent that is not qualified enough. And I have another note here that basically says the requirements to work with AI now are much higher than without AI. Because what's left? So if you look into the different realms of software development, you have backend, frontend, and then things on the server, and then maybe some security stuff. But let's keep it very simple. If you want to code usually these smaller apps, web apps that we mostly use right now, it's frontend, backend, and then server stuff, DevOps. Front-end is going away. I'm going to talk about this later as well. Now, front-end basically is going away because I'm here right now coding this in Cloud Code, and I can show you that the stuff I'm doing as a backend developer, it's not pretty, but I don't need another developer for this. This is something that has just been done for me for free, almost for free. It's $100 per month. This is something that basically I get as a senior developer for free without needing to hire this out to someone who makes me this UI. So UI development probably going to be super cheap and eventually going to go away. Backend development is still there, but then what do all these developers need to do now? They need to deploy the apps into the cloud. And so all the jobs are moving up the ladder of value. So as a developer now, you also need to learn server stuff. If you don't know that, basically there's not so much for you to do anymore. And so the companies know that, and the companies need to now hire for more of those jobs, but also these jobs are more rare because you only need so many DevOps people. You only need so many backend people. So everything now converges to a more higher concentration of skills, and that leaves a lot of people basically right now on the streets. What do these people do? They do apply. And this is what this other video that inspired this, my video here already explains. So this guy here, you can check out the video, Protocoding. He basically tells the story of a company in the United States where they would just have so many applications that the hiring managers cannot deal with that anymore. So what they're going to do, they just hire through relationships. If you know someone in the company, great, there's an intro, we can trust this person. Okay, cool. And now what a local company is able to do, a remote company cannot do. There's usually not the method of hiring through relationships unless it's on the ground as friends of friends. In a remote setting, you now have to rely on CVs coming in. You have to rely on people giving you the test tasks. And this leads me to the second point here. Outsourced job plus more globalism plus more boot camps, the fancy enough of remote work where people really love remote work and they want to travel and so on. Everything is more global. Everything is more accessible. Every day, many more people connect to the internet. And I asked our hiring manager here, basically what he said is this: the main problems of hiring right now is that there are too many unqualified applicants, because everybody can learn front end right now very quickly. They don't need to do much. They can fire up an AI and they will do something which looks great, but it's the engineering behind it is not necessary because the AI is doing that already. So that's a problem. There's an inflation of CVs. And this is exactly what our friend here from Proto Coding said. I'm going to link up the video as well in the description. The next thing is that developers don't trust the employers anymore, that they even follow through. And I've seen this many, many times hiring people, talking with them, that they actually said the hiring managers don't get back to me. I would apply and then I don't hear anything. And of course, why would someone do an assignment if they expect not to hear from them again? Why would you waste on something that doesn't give you a result? That's just basic math that everybody does in their head. Another thing, this is more for what I said here, small remote companies. If you don't have a brand, people don't even know who you are. And this is especially, we're hiring a lot in Africa now. People work through relationships. They want to see that something is real. And something on the internet could be anyone. You could be scammed. In a low trust society, you're adhering to brands. And so if the company doesn't have a brand, what are you going to do? So this is especially hard for remote companies. And then I want to touch base on one more larger scale trend, which is high interest rates. We can check this out here. And that has been talked about quite a bit already. So these are the interest rate, at least in the United States, where I found them. There's COVID, of course. So interest rate went quite down in order to stimulate the economy. And now these are the jobs. So the software development jobs, they basically had the peak here when the interest rates were the lowest. And now the interest rates go up and there's less hiring. If the companies don't have easy access to cash, then it's harder for them to hire because they would need to use their profit in order to hire more, expand more. They cannot just borrow that. So this is the third mega trend, and everything comes together. And we are basically now ending up in a world where very few people will get really rich and a lot of people will just be left behind. And I'm very curious what's going to happen. For me as an entrepreneur, we are able to work around this by just putting more effort into hiring and giving people the benefit of a doubt and helping them learn what we are doing. But in the long run, junior developers need to level up and get to the senior and DevOps level quite fast. And companies, I think companies are going to be fine because the AI automation is just favoring companies. There will be a bloodbath of a lot of SaaS companies in the next months and years because people will just ditch their SaaS and code their own thing or just use an agent for that. I'm very curious what's going to happen. Let me know what you think in the comments below.